kami akan bertemu anda di lapangan khas untuk usahawan dan peniaga-peniaga kecil dan sederhana. Kami akan jelajah ke 5 lokasi pilihan di seluruh negara. Berbagai kandungan informatif dan menarik yang akan kami bawakan sepanjang tahun. Pastikan anda mendapat segala info dan update yang latest di sini.
Good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Saraya Mia. Bank Negara Malaysia BNM announces the appointment of Dato' Abdul Rashid Ghaffour as the new governor beginning July 1st. He takes over the critical role from current governor Tan Sri Nur Shamsiah Yunus, who is completing her term of 5 years on June 30th. In a statement, Rashid said it is an honor to be appointed to the position of governor and looks forward to continue and build on the work of Shamsiah. He added that his aim will be to carry out the duties of governor to the best of his ability. Rashid joined BNM in 1988, rising to the position of deputy governor in 2016. He graduated from University Malaya with a Bachelor of Economics and holds an MBA from the Said Business School, Oxford University. Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim attended the UMNO General Assembly today, more than 2 decades after being expelled from the party. He was invited as a guest of honor in his capacity as Prime Minister.
Jadi saya hadir semula kerana saya gunakan platform perpaduan ini untuk memperkukuh kerajaan dan memberi manfaat kepada rakyat. Jadi saya tentunya rasa selesa, senang dan kerana dah biasa suasana itu, termasuk menghafal lagu. Masih ingat lagu UMNO? Masih.
The last time Anwar spoke at the party's General Assembly was in June 1998 as the party's deputy president. He was sacked from the party 3 months later. The UMNO General Assembly kicked off today and will end on Sunday. Among other party leaders in attendance were Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, DAP Secretary General Anthony Loke, Amanah President Datuk Sri Muhammad Sabu, MIC President Tan Sri S.A. Vigneswaran, and Warisan President Datuk Sri Shafiq Abdul.
Penang PH Chairman Chow Kon Yeow said the coalition would include UMNO leaders in the next state administration if returned to power. However, he said UMNO leaders must first be voted in during the state polls expected sometime in July.
Chow was commenting on UMNO President Datuk Sri Ahmad Zaid Hamidi's keynote speech at the UMNO General Assembly today, where he said UMNO wanted representation in the 3 Pakatan states of Penang, Selangor and Negeri Sembilan. The Chief Minister of Penang said that cooperation between Pakatan and Barisan Nasional at the federal level would continue in the state elections. As for seat negotiations, several rounds of discussions have been held with BN, but all the seats offered to the respective parties may not satisfy each party. Chow said that the final decision of the seat negotiations will be decided by the Presidential Council.
The government should establish a gig economy commission to regulate the gig industry and safeguard welfares of those involved in the ecosystem. UMNO President Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi says the booming sector has over 1.12 million gig workers registered under the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation. Speaking at the 2023 UMNO General Assembly, he said more than 80% of the gig economy users are young people. Zahid added that Malaysia's e-commerce, which reached a whopping 52.4 billion ringgit in 2020, is expected to grow by 23% yearly. Zahid, who is also Deputy Prime Minister, said the Gig Economy Commission would allow the government to structure the gig economy taxation system. The Employees Provident Fund EPF saw an income of 15.16 billion ringgit in the first quarter of the year. This was a 3% rise from the 14.77 billion ringgit recorded in the same period last year.
Income from equities was the biggest contributor to its revenue, accounting for 8.96 billion ringgit or 59% of the total revenue in the first quarter this year. Overseas investments, which were mainly in equities, generated 7.04 billion ringgit in income, representing 46% of the total investment income recorded. According to EPF, its domestic investments, which account for 63% of total assets that are mainly invested in fixed income instruments, continued to provide long-term income stability through interests and profits. The fund's overall investment assets grew to 1.04 trillion ringgit in the first quarter. The statement added that the remaining quarter of the year will see EPF focusing on industries and sectors that are expected to recover post-pandemic, which would result in higher labour demand. It also pledged to continue supporting the domestic economy by continuing to set aside more than 70% of its new annual investment allocation to the home market.
Ombudsman Malaysia, an independent body to address the wide range of public complaints against government agencies, is slated to be tabled in Parliament in October. We discussed some of its functions and whether or not they are any different from the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC with C4 Centre's Deputy CEO, K. Sudagaran Stanley.
Basically, the Ombudsman is a organization that tries to address the maladministration, the bureaucratic inefficiency, improper services provided by government, or even the biasness in certain departments, corruption in certain jurisdictions, negligence, and so on, right? So it is an agency, a private agency or independent agency where the public can go and make these complaints and ask this organization to actually investigate that they have been receiving poor services, or their concerns are not being addressed, or they're not being given proper services by the government. So it's different, right? The jurisdiction is different from the MACC, where the MACC actually investigates corruption and so on. So the closest now agency that we have when we want to compare about the Ombudsman would be the Public Complaints Bureau. So the Public Complaints Bureau is an agency, a government agency, which handles public complaints against different government departments and so on. But the issue here is that the Public Complaints Bureau is established by a circular. So it is not a legal agency which is covered by statute and so on. And so this is why we have been calling for the Ombudsman to come into place. And basically the Ombudsman has already been established in many other countries because they have come to realize that the importance of having an independent agency actually hold accountable government departments and so on.
For an ombudsman to be effective, it must be independent, transparent, and be given extensive powers to investigate any maladministration in government. Stanley lays out his recommendations for the setting up of a successful ombudsman in Malaysia.
First of all, I think the most important thing is that the powers and the structures of the Malaysian Ombudsman must be clearly defined and protected under a law. So we've got to pass this law and possibly even provide for the Ombudsman under the federal constitution, as now we have a 2/3 majority, so we can actually amend the constitution and insert their powers and jurisdiction in the federal constitution. Secondly, I think the Ombudsman in Malaysia must be given extensive powers to investigate any malpractices, poor delivery of services, including to punish those being indicted for contempt, to seek the power to seek documents, including documents that are protected under the OSA or financial laws, examine witnesses, summon officers, even to enter buildings, and even probably whether they could be able to recommend charges to be brought to the public prosecutor, or even to suspend certain employees and so on. Thirdly, they must also be able to investigate not only when complaints are actually being made to them, but I think it's also important for them to have the power to investigate on their own accord. So they can actually open an investigation on any agencies if they feel there is a need to do so and there are issues that actually needs to be addressed. The body, of course, must be an independent body. They must enjoy financial independence and operational independence. The chair should be appointed by a transparent process where people are actually allowed to apply for the positions, and then they should have a security of tenure, and they should not be subordinated to any other government agencies or politicians, right? And it must be clearly spelled out in the act that it is illegal for any agency or any political power to actually have influence or give directions to this ombudsman.
We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
To move, so I make it harder. If you think about it, so many people do be cool and look smarter. World, the time has come to.
Michelin terus berinovasi agar dunia boleh bergerak lebih laju. Michelin, bergerak kehidupan.
Lembu seko gagak gempit.
Kalau pantun yang sama, ibadah kurban tanda kasih agar hati jadi bersih.
Sudah dikata berkali-kali, nak ditunggu apa lagi? Kalau ibadah kurban yang dicari, isi korbanlah yang pasti.
Datanglah sekarang.
Mudah dan dipercayai.
Welcome back. Indonesia's Anak Krakatoa volcano erupted today, sending a column of ash more than 3 kilometers into the sky. There are no immediate reports of damage or casualties. The public were warned not to undertake any activities within a 5-kilometer radius of the volcano's crater. The volcano's status has been raised to the second highest warning level after authorities raised it in 2022 following a sharp increase in activity. Its crater partly collapsed in 2018 during major eruption that sent huge chunks into the ocean, triggering a tsunami that killed more than 400 people and injured thousands. Meanwhile, former United States President Donald Trump has been charged over his handling of classified documents after he left the White House. This marks the second indictment of Trump and the first ever federal indictment of a former president.
The 76-year-old faces charges including the illegal retention of classified documents under the Espionage Act. It involves conspiracy, false statements and obstruction of justice. However, the charges are not yet public. Trump has been summoned to appear at a federal court in Miami, Florida on Tuesday, where he will be arrested and hear the charges against him. The Republican presidential candidate is campaigning to make a return to the White House in 2024. Last year, Trump's Florida resort Mar-a-Lago was searched and 11 documents were seized, including around 100 marked as classified.
Over in China, thousands were evacuated from several high-rise apartment buildings in Tianjin City in recent days after land collapses resulted in large cracks in the streets. The local government called the incident a sudden geological disaster, while experts say the situation is very rare. Large cracks appeared on roads near a residential complex in the Jinan district. Geological experts said they were likely caused by underground cavities below a depth of 1,300 meters. The Tianjin government, however, did not rule out that drilling of geothermal wells resulted in soil loss and land subsidence in the area. As of June 3rd, a total of 3,899 residents from at least 3 25-story high-rise buildings were evacuated to nearby hotels. In recent months, scientists revealed that the global sea surface hit a new record high temperature. It has never warmed this much, this fast. We speak to youth climate advocate Mogesh Sababati about what this means and the escalating dangers surrounding ocean warming.
There is plenty of reports, very recently released on how rapidly that the oceans are getting heated due to El Nino. That is, even in Malaysia, it's expected to set in over the next, for the next few months, which only make things hotter. And this is a really big deal, right? Because warmer oceans can definitely impact very badly on marine life, leading to very devastating consequences. Like, for example, very delicate ecosystems like the coral reefs are at risk, along with fish populations and other marine species that also rely on them. And it's not just about the oceans, right? And it's important that we understand that it also affects us. Ocean warming, it contributes to more extreme weather events like now, right? We're experiencing this very hot temperatures, very hot weather.
Continuing our conversation on World's Ocean Day, we speak to marine biologists about protecting the ocean and getting youth more involved in conservation efforts. Catch this on It's About Youth tonight at 10:30 p.m. Now that's all we have for you on AWANI Tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Saraya Mia, and we'll see you again.
Hello and good evening, I'm Melissa Idris. Welcome to Consider This. This is the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. I'm here today at the Malaysia Futures Forum 2023, which is jointly organised by the LSC Soswi